rectangle here, something like that. Yeah, I think that's good. And go up, something about like that. I'm working on my grid, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of my grid here. So I'm going right across from the end of this line. You can see on that same. So I got to be somewhere on that line. Doesn't matter exactly where. Maybe there. And choose that. Honestly, it seems a little big. I think I'm going to go with something a little smaller here. Maybe this guy. I think it's just a little tall. I'm going to move it down a bit. Pull that down. And then pull this guy down. There we go. I don't know. Now I'm doubting myself. Maybe it was better where it was. We can stretch it out. I'm going to show you the stretch command. It's super easy to use, and if it needs to be stretched, we will do that. Next thing, connect these guys. I'm going to connect this with a tangent. So you absolutely have to use the tangent snap in order to get this guy connected here. And I'll show you that in just a second. But first, I'm going to start it out at the bottom, and it's somewhere right around here. But to get this to connect to this circle correctly, you have to use the tangent snap. I'm turning off my grid snap, so F9 to turn it off, F3 to turn my object snap on. I'm going to go to my object snap and show you what I'm talking about. Here it is, tangent, right there. It's got to be checked, okay? That is the only way this will work. You got to use your object snap, and it's got to be checked tangent. All right. So again, using my grid to get this thing started right here. And then using my object snap, turning off my grid, F9, turning on my object snap, F3, and utilizing that tangent. There it is, and it says tangent right there. So the key to getting that tangent to show up is to placing the endpoint close. So like if I put it over here, it would be tangent on the bottom. There it is. And that's not what I want. I want it, so I need to get it in the general neighborhood, and then where it says tangent, click, boom, perfect. So there you go. And now I can trim this out, TR, enter, just get rid of that. Next thing I got to do is round this intersection. That is going to be a little tricky. That is going to be a little tricky. And we could do the math for that, but I'm going to show you guys, and only you guys, or anybody who watches this video, how to do a special circle in AutoCAD that automatically takes care of that. It's called a fillet. So filleting automatically places a round between two lines. So this is an advanced move for you. It's right up here. It's in the modify menu right there. There it is. Click fillet. The radius right now is small. It doesn't have a radius. So before you can use it, you have to give the radius a value. So before you use it, you have to type, I know it's strange, but you have to type R and then enter. And you have to give it a value. And the radius is just the distance from the center to the edge. So how big would that be? Each one of these squares is basically an inch, right? So you know what, I'm going to do a dimension here and just say it's probably something like that right there. So that is 2.5 inches. So if I went to my fillet and said R, enter, and I could say 2.5, or just round up to 3-inch radius. Let's see what would happen. And then you click the 2 lines that you want to put the radius. There it is. So that was a 3-inch radius. And honestly, I think that's pretty good. I think that's about right. So I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to hit undo. And the way you use the fillet command is you click on fillet right up there. And before you do anything, you have to type R, enter, and give it a value because it doesn't know how big a radius you want. I'll pick a bigger one this time. I'll say like 10. Let's see what happens when I put in 10. 10 is the radius. And then you hit enter, and then you click the 2 lines. You just click on the 2 lines you want the radius to come between. Boom, look at that, it's huge. So that's a 10-inch radius. Definitely too big, but it shows you how that works. And you can do this with anything. So this is kind of a cheat. That last one that we did, I had you guys make that circle. But now you know how to use the fillet command. Check this out. You can use it for anything. I'll click fillet, and again, R, enter, 3, enter. How about this corner? That line and that line. Strange. I guess it was too big. If it doesn't work, it's because the fillet's too big. Let's try that one more time. Sorry. R, enter. I'll make it 2. Let's see if a 2-inch radius works here. Yep, there you go. So look how it rounds all this stuff, no problem. Fillet command is really cool. Keep going here. Now I'm on a roll. Just gonna keep clicking things. So that is the fillet command, and you are my first group I've shown that to. Again, you click the fillet command, you type R, enter, give it the value. For this, in this case, I'm going to say 3, enter, and then click the 2 lines you want the fillet to form between. So pretty cool. Now the only thing I got to do here is it erased that line, so I need to redraw that, or just click on this one and re-extend this guy. That's apparently not going to work, so I'm just going to redraw it and go across. There you go. Okay. And now for the slot. Now, the slot that is up here is on center with this circle. So that's the center point, and I need to make sure that the slot is aligned with that. So I'm going to go to my construction layer right now, and my whole construction layer, and I'm going to put that construction line in place so that I can draw this slot. And I still have my object snap on, which is why the center point is lighting up there. And we'll go vertical and across. There it is. And I had my ortho on to do that. My F8 made those 2 lines very easily. So now I have the center point of this arc, which is also the center point of the one circle that will make up that slot. There it is. The size is not critical at all. I'm just going to snap to grid, F3 to get object snap off, F9 to get the grid back on, and I'm just going to snap to grid and pick one of these squares. I guess I'll go with that one. And then draw another circle down here, sort of randomly placed closer to the bottom, and make it the same, and then connect them, L, enter, connect these guys, and then trim that out, TR, enter, get rid of this, and get rid of that. There's my slot. Okay, I believe that is it for the front view. Let's do the top view. I'm going to shrink things down a little bit here, zoom out a little bit. There you go. All right. And I'm going to go into my construction layer, and put these vertical construction lines in place. I'm going to mark the end of this arc here, and that's going to have my object snap on, F3, so I can click on the end of that guy, which is right there. Boom, there he is. Because you know we're going to use that in the top view. And of course this. I'm going to turn these off for now. These are going to be on my whole construction layer. Okay. I got that done correctly. Turn those off. All right. And then we'll do this top view. I toggle back and forth between this grid snap and this object snap quite a bit. So you don't see me doing it, but I'm hitting the F3 and F9 buttons a lot. F3 is object snap and F9 is the grid snap. So using those quite a bit, going back and forth. Okay, how about that? All right. And the thickness of this guy from there and all the way to the tangent like we've been doing. So that's where that tangent arc ends, that round ends right there. So that's where that line will end. Okay, the top view is going to have some holes in here. It's also going to have some rounds. Let's do the rounds. Now that you guys know how to do them, know how to cheat them, let's cheat them. We're going to go to these, technically they're called fillets. We're going to go to the fillets and we'll just make these immediately. What size should that be? You know, it remembers the last size you used. So I don't have to type anything. The only reason you type R and then enter is to give it a value. But as long as you are in the middle of a drawing, it remembers what you last did. And it's showing it down here. You can see at the command prompt, it says radius equals 3. So let's see what a 3-inch radius looks like. I'm going to click on this line and that line and see if that looks good. I'm happy with that. Hit enter again, do it again. There you go. So that's the 3-inch radius, which I used here, here, and here. And again, if you're zoomed out too farther or zoomed in farther, you might have to change that value to a smaller or larger number. But that's working good. So now I need to put the holes in place, and they are, honestly, I can't tell if they're centered on these. That is so often the case. I'm going to assume it is. I'm going to assume that the holes here are centered on these arcs. Okay, so we will do that. With my object snap, with my grid off and my object snap on, I'm going to go to circle. And if I move my cursor through the arc, you can see the center point lights up. And I'm going to use that. And you can enter a value or click on it, whatever. I'm just going to say it's 1, enter, and do the same on the other side. Sweep through there, click on that center point. And so that's just a small 1-inch hole. Okay. That's it for the object lines in the top view. And we'll make that construction line, XL, enter, A, enter, 45, enter. Grid snap on. Click. And we'll bounce these construction lines across. We'll save the holes and slot for later. I do need to grab the top of this arc though. So I'm gonna have to use my object snap for that to get the to very top of it to see if maybe it's not going to come up. Looks like it's not grabbing that quadrant. I'm going to have to turn my whole construction lines on in order to get that. Now I can click right on that guy. There it is. Okay. I'll turn the whole ones back off. All right, and now for the transfer line, do those guys using my grid snap. Okay, it's looking good. Should just be a couple of rectangles. Object, you got the base, and this guy here. That's simple. That's it for the object lines of the right side view. So now we will do our center lines and hidden lines. Okay, so I'm going to turn my regular construction line layer off. I'm going to turn my whole construction line on, get into my center line layer, or I should say my whole construction, there we go. Okay, now let's do all these hole and slot construction lines. I'll start off with the horizontal ones first. Guess I don't need that. Okay. Midpoint. All right. And the vertical ones. Okay, I think that does it for that. Actually, I'm missing this one right over here. Oh, look at that. Those are right on. I did not mean to do that on purpose. Huh. All right. Okay, let's, how about we address the slot first? So the slot is visible in the front view. Let's drop it in the top view here. I'll go to my center line layer and show it in the top view. So there is its center line, and I'm not going to bring it across like that. I did not mean to do that. So I will put that right there. I'm going to do it separately here. It is aligned on center, so it's going to go all the way through that. So this center line is also the center of this arc. So that's why the center line is going through the slot and through the arc. And of course, the same thing on the outside here. It goes all the way. Now it won't go all the way out here because the arc does not extend to that point. So it's just going to be like to that. So I know that looks a little off, but this arc right here, because it does not go all the way down on through this line, that center line would not extend beyond there. And then of course on the bottom, it's just like that. Okay, we got the center lines of the slot in the front view and the top view, and now we'll put them in the right side view. And I'm just using my grid snap to make this real easy. All right, the center lines for the slot are done. Let's do the holes. You know what I'm going to do with these holes? I'm just going to do one and utilize my copy capability. Oh, what? I'm not. You know what? I can't do that because this goes beyond. Sorry, I was going to copy it, but they're not copies because that has to go beyond the edge. Scratch that. Okay, and in the front view, you know what? This one I could copy. Check this out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the copy command to do these just to utilize that and show you that again. So I'm gonna save doing this hole and this hole because it's just a copy of this one here, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's get the hidden lines in place now. Go into my hidden layer, and we'll address the slot again. So with the slot in the top view, it goes from there to there. And I totally mixed these up, apparently. What the heck? Trying to move this, or I could just delete it, but I'm gonna type move, M, enter, select it, enter, grab it from there, move it to there. All right. Move and copy are almost identical. You use it the same way, and I'll review that in just a moment. Let me finish up the hidden lines for this. So I got the slot in all views. I got the holes in, all right, so it's just the hole left. So copy and move. Let's talk about it one more. Let's talk about it again in a little more detail. I'm going to show you an example, a very simple example of copy. So the copy command is right up here. And you just click the object. It says follow the command prompts, select objects. And I'm going to pick these three lines, the hidden line, the center line, and the hidden line. And I'm done picking. So when you're done picking, you have to let it know you're done picking. You push the enter button. And then it says, fine, copy specific base point. So what are we gonna, how are we gonna hold this thing? The center points or corners, that's basically what we would always go to. I'm gonna go with the corner here. So that corner right there. And you can see I can put this thing anywhere I want. There, anywhere I want. And I'm holding it by its corner. And I know that that's an accurate spot and that's an accurate spot. So I held it by its corner because I knew I could place it by its corner. Move is done the exact same way. It just doesn't leave the copy behind. So if you go to move, well, let's try that, which is right above copy. You just click on that. You can do the exact same thing. Pick the same objects, 1, 2, 3. You're done picking, you hit enter. What do you want to move them by? I'll pick the same point, move them by that corner. And now it's letting me move it the same way, but it just doesn't leave a copy behind. So move and copy are nearly identical. Copy is just the move command, but it's instead of moving the original, it's moving a copy of the original. Okay. Let's turn these construction lines off and see what we've got. I'm hoping that we are done. Looks like it to me. Checking everything. You just want to make sure all the features are represented in all the views. Is the slot visible in all of the views? Object lines, hidden lines, hidden lines. Yes. Are the holes visible in all of the views? object lines, hidden lines, hidden lines, yes. The arc up here, the tangent here, are they visible? Yes here and yes here. So I think we're good.